Will the audience please rise? We will now have the national anthem by the Sanford High School Band under the direction of Angelo Tskika. The salute to the flag will be led by Miss Ann Davis, the Student Council President.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Father Roland Patenaude from Holy Family Church will now give the invocation.
Almighty and eternal God, we invoke thy holy name and call down thy blessings upon this new high school and this assembly. We bow our heads before you and humbly adore your omnipotence that fills and rules the whole universe. We wish to thank you today for all that you have done for us in the past. We thank you for the present, for preserving us to enjoy this day. We thank you not only for the past and the present, but in a special way for the future that lies ahead of us. May your divine providence guide and direct us every instant of our lives, and in return, may you give us the will to walk always in the ways of your commandments. Amen.
May be seated. It is indeed a pleasure to welcome you on such a lovely afternoon. And I would like to take this opportunity to introduce some of the platform guests that are sharing the program this afternoon. Mr. Norman Hall, Mr. Raymond Nadeau, and Mr. Carl Lamb. These gentlemen are your selectmen, and Carl has been on the school building committee all along. Members of the school committee who are a part of the building committee: Allain, chairman; Roland A. Gauthier; and one member was unable to be here. The school building committee that has been chaired by André Chabot, and a wonderful job well done. Andy Chabot. Other members of the building committee: Mrs. Jean Colville, Bernard LeClaire, Wilbrod Myatt, Richard Neal, Mrs. Nancy Titcomb, and a couple of members who are unable to be here. During the time of a project of this magnitude, a great deal of work is required, and I would like at this time to name a few of these people who participated greatly and gave of their time unselfishly for what you see here and will see before the day is over. Mr. Parker, principal of your new school. John has worked very hard in trying to carry on a regular program plus a building program. Closely associated with Mr. Parker during this time was Mr. Sensier, Fred Sensier. Fred's job as Director of Vocational Education has taken a tremendous amount of work in clearing everything with the State Department before we could proceed. We have our assistant principal, Paul Seavey. Other people who have made this possible are seated before me. For without your help, this dream would never have been possible. And I'm sure that your boys and girls will appreciate this school a lot more than anyone can really imagine. Before having the key passing ceremony, I would like to thank Mr. Tskika and the high school band. They sounded lovely. Mr. Irving Hersey from the Hersey Associates has given Sanford another fine building. And now we will have the key passing ceremony with Mr. Hersey starting the chain. My humble apologies. I've overlooked a chap that has been very instrumental in vocational education, Representative Emil Badad from Saco.
In presenting these keys to the chairman of the committee, I would like to take this opportunity to thank Mr. Bowers, his staff, Mr. Parker and his staff, and the building committee for the much help that they've given us in completing this project. Mr. Chairman, it's a pleasure. I present this key to you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hersey. This is the second opportunity that I have to work with Mr. Hersey. He was the architect to build the junior high school, which is just across our campus here. This is another wonderful addition to our school system. I am very proud to be part of the building and proud to be part of the community. I want to welcome each and every one of you to this building this afternoon. We will show you through. Members of the school committee, the school building committee will be here to answer any questions that you might have. Thank you very much for making it possible for us to work with you and for you. And at this time, I would like to pass the key on to Eric Allain, Chairman of the Superintending School Committee. Eric?
Thank you very much, Andy. There is nothing to add except repeat the thanks that have been given to everyone involved in this project. And I think that you, the citizens and the parents, will find everything that we have been telling you about this school is true as you tour the building. I would like now to present the key to John Parker, Principal.
On behalf of the true owners of this building, the students of Sanford High School, it's a privilege and a pleasure for me to accept the key. In so doing, I would like to take just a moment to acknowledge the assistance of some of the persons who made it possible. These folks have helped to make this building a reality, as well as helping us to move from the old building over here in time to open school properly this year. They moved us both expeditiously and inexpensively, I may add. Two students have had as much to do with this move as any two people that I can think of. Jim Crowley and Bill Drummey have been working here since before the close of school last year and helping us to move and set up in this high school, and I publicly acknowledge their assistance. Our own Key Club, our own student council, and our school newspaper, under the leadership of Gary Morse and Ann Davis and Greg Maynard, respectively, have done a great deal to make this school climate conducive to a good school program. Now, throughout the entire building project, from the initial planning up to and including today, I've had the assistance, the support, the counsel of a very capable individual who's been already introduced, but I can't begin to list the times that his service has been beneficial to me and likewise to the taxpayers of the town of Sanford. My appreciation to Fred Sincere. Many others not seated here today have played a part in the planning and the completion of this plant, including our own faculty, but I will not list them all. I simply thank them. In closing, there are several ingredients which are necessary if we are to ensure a sound and a forward-moving educational program for our students in Sanford. Now, a clean, well-designed building is indeed one of these, but the facility itself cannot produce good education. The more important still are the following: a well-informed, dedicated policy-making body, strong administrative leadership, numerically sound and a professionally capable and trained staff, an eager and responsive student body, and an alert and involved citizenry seated before me. I have been very proud of the support which the parents of Sanford have given Sanford High School education. In the end, it's this support of a moral nature rather than a financial one which will determine the quality of education in Sanford, and I thank you.
Now it gives me a pleasure to introduce Dr. Keith Crockett, Assistant Commissioner of Education, State Department of Education, Augusta, Maine.
Friend Carl, I thank you very much for the opportunity to be here today. I am laboring under a sinus head cold. Thursday night I was in Portland speaking to the Vocational Technical Center Committee, and in the middle of the question and answer period I couldn't even whisper. And perhaps, Carl, as I've told you sitting beside you, if that happens, you'll have to finish up my speech. As I look at this audience today and the seats that are here, boy, I wish I were 25 years younger to be able to go to this high school. A school building is only an interpretation of the educational process, the life and form of functions that are going to take place within it. In yesteryear, the educational system of the colonial period in America was characterized by the one-room schoolhouse, made crudely of wood, equipped with simple furniture such as long benches on which all of the children were seated, poor ventilation, oil lamps, little, if any, sanitary facilities, and often inadequate heat characterized the schools of that period. About 1806, the citizens took a step forward. At least they considered it a step forward at that time by introducing what was known as the Lancastrian method of teaching, in which a major teacher, together with 50 assistant teachers whom he instructed, each in turn passed on such instruction to 10 pupils. Often as many as 500 boys and girls were crowded into a one-room school building about 50 feet by 100 feet. Fortunately, this system was short-lived. In 1847, the tax-supported free public education became a reality. During the latter part of the 1800s, men such as John Dewey, Pestalozzi, and James influenced education in general. Observation, investigation, discussion, evaluation, and self-expression came into the classroom, leading to increased activity and more subject matter, which demanded a change in the spaces needed for teaching. Unfortunately, schools at this time were erected by merely stacking one-room schoolhouses one upon the other. However, along about 1873, the kindergarten and secondary school emerged. Then something happened. The kindergarten program demanded an unbolting of furniture from the floor and a concept of larger spaces for programs, storage for supplies, and equipment to enhance the learning and teaching processes. The secondary school opened the doors to many people, boys and girls, who were never in a schoolroom before. In the early 1900s, manual training, physical education, college preparatory work, and commercial instruction were offered. This period of time also witnessed the use of the first school nurse. By 1917, the federal government started to support some of these programs. Program changes of this nature, however, brought little response from the architects, as they did not meet the need for change until shortly after World War II. The country then witnessed designs such as the cluster plan and the finger plan, the loft structure, and the campus plan to meet these challenges of our new educational programs. During the past 25 years, we have seen vast changes in social, cultural, and technical phases. Explosions have occurred. Explosions such as the atomic explosion, population explosions, knowledge explosions, and explosions even to the moon. Now, explosions have occurred also in our classroom spaces, as we have witnessed a trend from the traditional classroom instruction to one of team teaching, individual pupil instruction, and independent study, which demand a variety of sizes for rooms. Forces such as desegregation of our schools, compassion for and an answer to helping to educate the disadvantaged, attention to dropouts, the attempt to meet the needs of both rapid and slow learners, and the effort to teach competence and responsibility to our students have all come about. All these forces challenge us to reassess our designs for school facilities. We do not have all the answers. However, it is well to note there is positive evidence that Maine school building designers and those involved in school facility planning are seeking better answers. As a matter of fact, I can report personally to you over the past decade that many of our school buildings bear evidence of this fact. Rapid changes have taken place in our educational systems in the past few years. From these changes have emerged new trends which have implications for the design of school buildings for the future. I wish to mention a few. First, there is the trend to individualized learning. A study of the learning process reveals that this has always been the prime goal of education. The significant fact, however, is that we now have the tools to make this a reality. Second, the trend to a change in role for the teacher. A change from a teacher who has all the facts to the role of manager, counselor, listener, developer, organizer, and supervisor of pupils. Third, the trend toward taking learning experiences out into the surrounding community. Fourth, the trend toward several paths of learning for a student. By this I mean in and out of small and large groups. Fifth, the trend toward open space planning, which allows for the flow of students without many costly circulation areas and provides flexibility for changing instructional spaces within. And sixth, the trend toward vocational education for high school students, post-high school youth, and adults in the development of manpower for industry. To the forces which have tended to shape our school buildings, I would add that there are legal aspects involved as well, as state law recognizes that every child is entitled to well-educated, inspired teachers, school facilities which are well-lighted, well-heated, sanitary, attractive, safe, and well-equipped with good books and other instructional materials. The law further recognizes that every child is entitled to safe, hygienic transportation if he lives too far from the school to walk. Now, to these I would add that every child is entitled to the benefits of an efficient plan for operating and maintaining the school plant and for administering the school system. An unknown author had this to say about education, and I quote, "I am education. I bear the torch that enlightens the world, fires the imagination of man, and feeds the flames of genius. I give wings to dreams and might to brawn and brain. From out of the silent shadows of the past I come, wearing the scars of struggle and the stripes of toil, but wearing in triumph the wisdom of all ages. Man, because of men, holds dominion over the earth, air, and sea. It is for him I leash the lightning, plumb the deep, and shackle the waves of ether. I am the parent of progress, the creator of culture, and the molder of destiny. Philosophy, science, and art are my handiwork. I banish ignorance, discourage vice, disarm anarchy. Thus I have become freedom's citadel, the arm of democracy, the hope of youth, the price of adolescence, the joy of age. Fortunate the nations, and happy the homes that welcome me. The school is my workshop. Here I stir ambitions, stimulate ideas, forge the keys that open the door to opportunity, the master of human destiny. I am the source of inspiration, the aid of aspiration, for I am irresistible power. I am education." My primary purpose today is to share with you the joy of dedicating this new Sanford High School. As you visit the various parts of this building, I trust you will note that a concerted effort has been made to make this a workshop to meet the educational needs of youth and adult for today and tomorrow. Truly, a building designed to house a program. It is my pleasure, on behalf of the Commissioner of Education and the State Board of Education, to congratulate all who have in any measure contributed to making this school a reality. This project stands as a cooperative effort by many. Its cost will be shared cooperatively by town and state in the following manner. The Vocational Technical Center, state support 75%, town support 25%. The remainder of the building, state support 26%, town 74%. In addition to the construction cost sharing, the state will provide 66 2/3% of the cost of operating the Vocational Technical Center. In conclusion, I would remind you that all the efforts put forth in realizing this new structure can be in vain unless every effort is now made to use the plant to its fullest advantage in order that thorough scholarship and character development are realized. My wish today, then, is that each of us will vow to do all within his power to maintain within this school this community, this state, and this nation a program of education at all levels and for all ages that will lead to excellence and a meaningful life for every person who will come within its influence. I thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Crockett. And thank you personally for helping us with our plans. Dr. Crockett has been with us over the last 2 or 3 years while we were developing this fine plant, and his signature of approval has brought results. Now we'll have the benediction by Reverend Thomas Lunn, Jr. of the United Methodist Church.
Let us pray. Heavenly King, Father Almighty, bless us with your wisdom that we may always keep the education of our youth first in importance, that this lovely building may truly be a servant to that purpose, that it may be blessed by being worn out in that service and not become a sacred idol whose beauty and cost is more important than its task. Help us, Lord, to so train our youth in the use of their minds and souls and hearts here, that they may yet help us all to learn to live here as it is eternally with Thee, O Father Almighty. In Jesus' holy name we ask this blessing and guidance. Amen.
This concludes our program, and students from the high school will be very happy to guide you throughout the facility. Thank you for coming.
Now, Kyle, maybe you can get something to run off.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Carter.